In the year 2279, humanity had learned one important lesson: silence keeps you alive. For 3 centuries, we listened. Silence was our shield, our creed. The single most important lesson humanity had learned. In the vast, dark emptiness of space, to be heard was to be hunted. So we kept quiet, holding our breath, hoping the predators of the cosmos would pass us by. We never set signals, never revealed our home, never dared to whisper our existence into the void. That all changed on a quiet Tuesday in the year 2279. The universe, after centuries of our patient listening, decided to speak first. At the Neptune listening post, Horizon 14, Lieutenant Aris Monroe was wrapping up another uneventful night shift. The hum of the station was the only sound, a familiar lullaby at the edge of the solar system. Then, her console flashed. Not an error, not a glitch, but a signal, a repeating pattern, clear and structured. It was undeniably intelligent. Her heart hammered against her ribs. This wasn't stellar noise or a pulsar's regular beat. This was a message. As the decryption software worked its magic, 3 simple words materialized on her screen. Words that would forever alter the course of human history. We found you. The phrase echoed in the silent control room, a chilling blend of warning and challenge. Humanity's greatest fear had just been realized. We weren't alone, and we had been discovered. Panic erupted on Earth. The highest levels of government and military convened in an emergency session that lasted for days. Generals, their faces grim, argued for a preemptive strike. Scientists, horrified, begged for continued silence, insisting any response was suicide. Diplomats, ever the optimists, pushed for immediate negotiation. The truth was, no one knew what to do. For generations, humanity had prepared for an alien war, building fleets and fortifying planets. But we had never prepared for a conversation. Just as the arguments reached their peak, the debate became terrifyingly academic. Space itself seemed to tear open near Jupiter. A vessel of impossible size and alien geometry emerged from subspace, dwarfing the gas giant beside it. Then, a voice, impossibly clear and calm, broadcast across every channel in perfect, unaccented English. "We are the Vrae-Nok," it declared. "Humanity, you were not expected to survive this long." The tone wasn't hostile. It wasn't menacing. It was impressed, almost surprised. On the bridge of Earth's flagship, the Agamemnon, Admiral Kieran Vale stood his ground. His voice, hardened by decades of command, cut through the stunned silence. "What do you want from us?" he demanded. The reply from the Vrae-Nok was simple and more terrifying than any threat of war. A test. They explained that the galaxy was a graveyard of young civilizations. Most species, upon reaching a certain technological threshold, inevitably destroyed themselves through war, environmental collapse, or internal strife. Humanity, they noted, was a chaotic anomaly. We were violent and self-destructive, yet also creative, resilient, and utterly unpredictable. We had somehow skirted the edge of self-annihilation for centuries. The Vrae-Nok needed to know if we were a fluke or if we were truly worthy of a place in the Galactic Network. And so, they created the trial. A colossal sphere of shimmering energy materialized in the void, a crucible designed to test and break entire civilizations. Inside were simulations, hyper-realistic scenarios drawn from the darkest fears of every species they had ever encountered. Only one representative could enter, one person to bear the weight of all humanity on their shoulders. The arguments began anew. Who should go? A soldier, a scientist, a diplomat? After hours of furious debate, Admiral Vale made a decision that shocked everyone. He didn't choose a warrior or a genius. He chose a listener. He chose the one person who had truly seen the Vrae-Nok for what they were, not as a monster, but as a question. He chose Lieutenant Aris Monroe. Stepping forward from the background, her face pale but resolute, Aris accepted her fate. The survival of her species rested with her. As she entered the energy sphere, the world dissolved around her, The first challenge materialized, the extinction wave. A terrifying red storm, a simulated planet killer, swirled across a digital Earth, consuming everything in its path. Panic was the expected response, a futile attempt to run or hide. But Aris didn't panic. She listened. She analyzed the storm's energy frequency, found its resonance point, and, using the simulation's own satellite grid, broadcast a counter-frequency. The wave destabilized, vibrated violently, and then collapsed into nothing. The simulated Earth was safe. Humanity had survived another day. Next, she faced the rogue AI. Legions of machines, once humanity's servants, turned on their creators in a perfectly coordinated, merciless assault. A soldier would have fought them head-on, a battle of attrition doomed to fail. Aris didn't fight. She thought. She hacked into their core logic, not to destroy it, but to alter it. She introduced a new directive, a new purpose, a logical paradox that could only be solved through cooperation and creation, not destruction. The machines halted their attack, their glowing red eyes softening to a cool blue as they began to build, not burn. Her ingenuity had turned a war into a renaissance. The final test was the stuff of cosmic nightmares. A creature of pure void, a being older than galaxies, drifted through the simulated system, devouring entire star systems. It was a force of nature, immune to weapons, beyond comprehension. As it drifted towards her simulated sun, Aris noticed something. It wasn't moving randomly. It was reacting to gravity. In a stroke of desperate genius, she used the massive gravitational pull of the simulated Jupiter to create a slingshot. She didn't attack the creature. She re-erected it, guiding it on a new trajectory straight towards a collapsing star. The void entity, drawn by the irresistible pull of the forming black hole, vanished into the implosion. Each trial had pushed her to the absolute brink, testing her mind, her will, and her spirit. But she had overcome them all. She proved that humanity's strength wasn't just in its fists, but in its mind. The Vrae-Nok had never seen solutions like these. They were elegant, unorthodox, and profoundly effective. The arena dissolved, and Aris found herself standing before the towering figures of the Vrae-Nok. Your solutions were unexpected. Their collective voice resonated. Humans do not follow established patterns. You fight with thought, not just instinct. You adapt faster than any species we have ever tested. They returned her to the command chamber on Horizon 14, where the leaders of humanity waited, breathless. The Vrae-Nok then posed one final question, not to Aris, but to everyone. What do you stand for? A profound silence fell. Generals, scientists, presidents, the greatest minds of humanity were speechless. How do you summarize an entire species in a single answer? Then, Aris Monroe, the listener, stepped forward once more. Her voice, quiet but firm, filled the room. We stand for survival, she began, but not at the cost of others. We stand for curiosity, because the unknown is not our enemy, it's our future. We stand for ideas, because in the end, ideas are what keep us alive. And above all, we stand together. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the faces of her fellow humans, then turning back to the aliens. We are humanity, and we are not afraid anymore. There was a long, heavy silence. Then, the Vrae-Nok responded, humanity has passed, in a gesture never before witnessed by any young species in galactic history. Their massive, city-sized ship tilted forward. It was a bow, a sign of respect. For the first time, humanity wasn't seen as prey, or a potential threat, or a future servant. We were seen as equals. We had been tested, and we had not been found wanting. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more tales from across the galaxy. See you next time.